Welcome to Fright Night. For real. Again. Welcome back to this week's edition of DistortedReality.com's Fright Fest Theater. This week is a part 2 of Fright Night, as we'll be screening Fright Night from 2011, starring Anton Yelchin as Charlie Brewster and Colin Farrell as Jerry Dandridge. And a little background on that: Colin Farrell is a huge fan of the original Fright Night, loved it as a kid, and playing Jerry Dandridge was his dream. And when he heard they were remaking it, he seeked them out, and they loved Colin Farrell's ideas for the film and immediately cast Colin as Jerry Dandridge. This one also has David Tennant, who you may recognize from Doctor Who and Harry Potter, and he plays Peter Vincent, who is a Vegas showman in this one. Yes, this one takes place in Las Vegas, and this one was directed by Craig Gillespie and written by Marty Noxon for the screenplay. That is, Tom Holland actually wrote the story for this movie. And yeah, obviously he gets a character's nod since this is based on his work from 1985. But it's really cool to me that he came back for this remake to try and take it in another direction for a modern generation. And that's what they did. This is a very good remake, one of the best remakes to come out of the remake boom of the 2000s. And it is just funny. It is definitely geared toward comedy. There's a lot of comedic actors in this one, but it's also pretty scary and pretty tense. It's got a good soundtrack, just like you would expect from the Fright Night series thus far. The color palettes aren't as good as in the first two films, but this is a different type of movie. This is a movie done for the modern age, and you can tell that throughout the film. But the Las Vegas setting is something that I really enjoyed because it's a perfect setting for a vampire. I mean, if you really think about it, who's going to be suspicious of some brooding guy wandering around Las Vegas in the middle of the night trying to pick up chicks? That sounds like a pretty normal Las Vegas evening to me. That could be any day of the week in Las Vegas. I know from my experience there, it didn't matter if it was 4 in the afternoon or 4 a.m., the place was booming. There was always something going on. So, perfect setting for vampire. Can't believe that this wasn't a vampire movie setting before, and if it was, I apologize. I haven't seen one. So, kudos to Tom Holland for putting that in there. And this movie is just, it's not great. It doesn't reach the levels that the original did, but it's still pretty good, and it is very watchable. As a matter of fact, every time that I watch the original Fright Night, I'm tempted to throw this one in right after it. And sometimes I do, and I skip over Fright Night Part 2 and just watch the Fright Night Remake. It's very good. Colin Farrell, you can tell he was really into playing Jerry Dandridge, and it shows. He does a very good job. There's plenty of homages to the original Fright Night film. Now, I know online, if you read some articles, some of the original cast members were not too pleased, especially Stephen Jeffries, with how Evil Ed was portrayed in this one. All due respect to Stephen Jeffries, his Evil Ed is great and will never be touched, but Christopher Mintz does a pretty good job as Evil Ed in this. It's just a different Evil Ed, and I think that's what everybody's expecting, the same Evil Ed to show up, and that's impossible since this was done 26 years later. So you get a more modern take on Evil Ed and a very nerdy, funny Evil Ed that I feel like a lot of today's youth can identify with. And I know around the time it came out, I was close to the age that these characters were supposed to be, and I could identify with these characters a lot better than I could identify with the characters in the original film. That being said, the original film also has this timeless feel to it, and I don't know if this one, the remake that is going to hold up quite as well. Um, the original, even though I don't identify with the characters as much, it deals with pretty common stuff that every young man and woman will go through in their lives. So this one is a little over the top, but I don't know, the dialogue and everything reminds me of the way me and my friends talk to each other. So it definitely has that going for it. Very fun movie. Just, I mean, I can't say enough about it. It's just fun. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. It's not Oscar worthy by any means. It's not groundbreaking, but it shows you how a remake can be done successfully, and that's something that a lot of remakes miss out on. You take the original and you never really totally abandon it, but you're remaking an original direction. And I think if more remakes follow that formula, you would get more remakes like Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake and this Fright Night remake. And the Thing remake, it totally surpasses everything that came before it. I mean, come on. No offense to Howard, but John Carpenter is pretty good at what he does. I'm underselling it and being a little sarcastic because John Carpenter is awesome at what he does. So that remake's on its own. So as far as 2000 Boom remakes go, you've got Fright Night and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, in my opinion, at the top of the heap, and they're good standalone horror movies as well as good remakes. So tune in with us if you'd like. The movie will start at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The review will be online immediately after. And up next, we will have Fright Night 2 from 2013. Fright Night 2 from 2013. Mm. It's a sequel, right? It says Fright Night Part 2. Not exactly. This is another remake of the original, just thrown into a European setting. But it has elements of the original Fright Night Part 2, as the main antagonist is now a female vampire. But her name is Jerry Dandridge. But they got real creative. It's Jerry with a G. This movie stars Will Payne as Charlie Brewster, Jamie Murray as Jerry Dandridge, and Sean Power as Peter Vincent. Now, each film has taken liberties with Peter Vincent so far. In the first, he's a very Vincent Price TV host, with a little bit of Hammer horror thrown in there as well. Now, Peter Vincent in the originals is just untouchable. So they took him in a completely different direction with 2011, as we were just talking about, with David Tennant. And he's a Vegas showman, and he's big into the occult, and he's really cool and hip. And then they go another route. We've got a Bear Grylls look-alike who hosts a Destination America style monster hunter, ghost hunter, vampire hunter TV show. Yeah, I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to get the audience to identify with this guy and make it a little more believable in today's time, because we don't have TV hosts quite like we did back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, like Elvira and things like that. So they had to modernize it a little bit, but it falls flat, unfortunately. And the other thing that this has working against it is this doesn't feel like Fright Night. It doesn't look like a Fright Night movie. It doesn't even look like the remake. This movie, other than the characters, is not Fright Night. The characters may carry the same names It may be about a kid who's trying to save his girlfriend from a vampire. But other than that, this doesn't even feel like Fright Night. As a matter of fact, if and I could probably dig and find out, and I may be right on the money, I may be totally wrong, but it just feels like a movie script came along about vampires in Europe attacking a foreign exchange class, and they were like, hey, this isn't marketable enough. Let's throw Fright Night's name on there and its characters. And that's exactly what it looks and feels like. And I think you'll see exactly what I'm talking about if you actually sit down and watch it, or if you've seen it before. Jerry Dandridge isn't really the vampire. That's not who the vampire is. That's an alias. And when you really get down to it and you see what I'm talking about, you're going to be a little bit disappointed. You're going to be like, oh man, that really doesn't feel like Fright Night. So I tried to say some positive stuff about it, and there are some positive things about this movie. I'll give it that. There's some very original ideas. There is one really cool scene when Charlie goes into Jerry's house. Very cool scene. A little bit, it goes a little bit over the top with a few elements, but aside from that, pretty cool scene, pretty original. And the only problem is, just when you think that this movie is starting to get good, it starts doing all the wrong things again. So for every one good thing it does 10 things wrong. And that's just, it just sucks. It was a big letdown. However, this movie is one of those movies that you can still have fun watching. You get a few of your friends together. It was me and my brother and a couple of our friends. We sat down, we watched it, and we had some drinks and we talked about it and we made fun of it a little bit, and we enjoyed some of the more gory elements of the film. And you can still have a good time watching it. So if you watch Fright Night with Colin Farrell and you can't think of anything else to watch, and you just want to throw something on and chat with your friends what's going on and see some good gore and some interesting effects. I'm not going to say good effects, just some interesting effects, and try to follow the story, although it's somewhat predictable. This one's not a horrible decision. You're not going to get a whole lot out of it. It's just there. It is a movie on demand, direct to DVD type B horror movie. I don't even know if it's a B horror movie. It's maybe a C or D horror movie. That's just the level that it's on. But we did enjoy watching it, and like I said, it does have a few very original moments. And you take the Fright Night aspects out of it, give it a bigger production budget, recast the movie. Aside from Jamie Murray, she did a good job as a vampire, but recast the movie, and you're looking at probably a decent vampire movie that could have made a little bit of money at the box office. But instead, they decided to go with the quick money and throw the Fright Night name on it, unfortunately. But this one will start at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to watch along with us, that'd be great. And if you want to tell us how much you liked it or you didn't like it, that's fine. We would love to discuss it with you, and I'm sure this movie has a few fans out there. So if you're out there, you're watching this, tell me why I'm wrong. I would love to discuss it with you. Otherwise, the review for it will be online as soon as the movie's over. It should be a little bit before midnight. So if you want to see what I really thought of it and really get into depth with it, please check out the review. And in the meantime, like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, give the Facebook page a like if you haven't already, go follow us on Instagram, and check out thedistortedreality.com, and where we'll be posting articles coming up, and we'll be posting plenty of new reviews this year. Like I said in last week's video, had some technical difficulties, and it put us behind schedule. We meant to do Fright Night like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Just didn't happen. Still haven't posted some of the New Year's reviews yet, which is really bugging me, but those are finished. We just haven't had a chance to get them online yet. We'll be getting those online in the near future if they're not posted already by the time this airs. So really appreciate everybody for checking out our pages and watching the videos, and we will be coming at you in the next few days because Valentine's Day is coming up, and that's a holiday. So what have we been doing with holidays as of late? With Christmas, with New Year's? I think we've been doing some slasher movies, so I wonder what slasher movie we might be watching for Valentine's Day. You'll have to tune in for our next holiday special coming up on Valentine's Day. As always, thank you for checking it out, and we'll see you next time.